So I had to go see an oncologist. It's a wonderful man by the name of Robert Decker. He sat me down. He said, Marla, you've got aggressive cancer cells going. Even though it's early, we have to give you aggressive chemo. We're going to give you Cytoxan and Adriamycin. There's some side effects. Got to tell you what they are. Some of them might happen. Some of them will happen. I said, okay, go ahead. Tell me what they are. He said, well, you will go into chemically induced menopause. You might become sterile. You will lose your hair. You might get mouth sores, anal sores, bleeding gums, bleeding nose. Your white cell count will drop. You might get infections. You will gain weight. You might get leukemia or uterine cancer, and you may have permanent heart damage. I was astounded. Wait, Doc, back up a bit. Did you say I was gonna gain weight?
She says that she looks like Dustin Hoffman in drag, but only if he's wearing a dress. She can do the Wizard of Oz in less than 5 minutes. I'm talking, of course, about comedian and cancer survivor Marla Lukofsky. Her mix of comedy and inspiration has earned her a reputation as one of Canada's most beloved stand-ups, and apparently I wrote one of her first reviews. And she joins me now. Marla, good morning.
Good morning, Tommy. How are you?
Very well, thanks. Remind me about this review. When was it? Was I terrible? Did I savage your performance?
No, actually, you were reviewing comics that just came to Yuck Yucks in Montreal, and you said I was one of the most hilarious acts ever to play the club, and then you listed my incredible impressions at the time of the ever so popular and current Joan Baez, and Joni Mitchell, and Janice Ian, and of course you mentioned the 3-minute version of The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, good. So, did that have an impact on you? I know that good reviews mean a lot to people when they're starting off.
Well, it meant a lot to me, so much so that I was reviewing them last week because I wanted to send out thank you notes, and I read yours, and I went, wow, he wrote such a really nice thing way back when. I got to send him a note, and that's how we got reacquainted again. It meant a lot. It means a lot. And of course, I'm sure you've heard that anybody who gets a bad review, you never forget that one.
Right, yes, yeah. You remember the bad ones. When was it, if I can ask, when was this review? When were you at Yuck Yucks?
It was. I was afraid you were going to ask me that.
Yeah. Was it a long time ago?
I think it was 1979.
Well, I'm glad it was the 1900s. Okay, good, good. All right, it was 1970, so that's quite a time ago. Tell me about what happened when you were diagnosed. We heard it in the introduction. You're talking about it. You were diagnosed with breast cancer in 1998. What was your initial reaction? How did you process this incredible news?
Well, for some strange reason, I kind of felt that I thought it was malignant. And not because anything was strange on my body. It was just that I thought, it's my turn. I just had this feeling. Sometimes you have a gut feeling. And I was very calm about it. I was strong, and I thought I could endure what was going to be thrown my way. The hard part came when I had to tell my parents. And I was living alone in Los Angeles, and I'm their baby daughter living alone, and that was the hard part. The next part that was hard was when they said it had already spread to the lymph nodes, and that was unlikely, but we had to check because it ends up being that every cancer cell has its own profile, and mine was multiplying rapidly, even though it was less than 1 centimeter.
How did you turn this kind of scary experience into a stand-up comedy routine, Marla?
Well, what I started to do is keep a journal. So anything that happened to me that day, I would go home to my computer and write about it. And that journal ended up turning into a memoir, which hasn't been published yet. And anybody out there who wants to publish it, you're more than welcome to contact me. And through that, I experienced some bad events in my life, at multiple fractured leg that laid me up, and I turned my memoir into this one-woman show presentation called I'm Still Here and So Is My Hair, converting my memoir, which was my journal, into the show, which is funny, sad, poignant, and full of all sorts of valuable information. So the answer to the question is things happen while you're going through these events. I mean, like, like the fact that when the doctor gave me 10 terrible things that are going to happen to me before I'm going to get my chemo, and all I could think about was, you mean I'm going to get fat? I mean, that was, and I went home and went, that's kind of funny, it's just that things happen. And it's like after my radiation, people said, you look fabulous. You're glowing. I said, well, radiation. And I had this incredible tan because the radiation was burning my skin. And so these things are kind of like, what can I do? I mean, I'm walking around bald and I've got this scarf on, and an Orthodox woman comes up to me and asks me what time it is to light the Shabbos candles. I said, I'm sorry, I'm not Orthodox. Well, you look, I said, I know, but I'm not. I'm dying, so.
What's the reaction been from people who've gone to see your show?
Amazing. It makes anything that I've ever gone through so worthwhile. When someone comes up to me and says, your cancer was not in vain. When someone who comes up to me after my show and says, I'm going to die in 3 months, I know that, but you made me feel good. You gave me comfort. You were real. You were honest. That means everything to me. I have letters sitting in front of me that reminds me to keep going. One from Gilda's Club in Toronto saying, your show's going to save somebody's life and you're never going to meet them. And another one from a 17-year-old, because I'm starting to do some high school, saying, I've been avoiding my aunt for the last year since she was diagnosed with breast cancer because I just don't know what to say. And after listening to you, I know exactly what to say now. I'm going to call her this afternoon. And another letter from a couple saying, since my diagnosis and my treatments with ovarian cancer, we don't have sex anymore. And after listening to you, we went upstairs to the hotel room and we had sex for the first time in a year. Thank you. That's what's going on. Because I promote sex,
That's been the reaction to the show. Now, what about people who are in a situation where they know that they know someone who's been diagnosed, and they're upset for them, they sympathize with them, but they don't know what to say. They don't know. They're too worried about saying the wrong thing.
Right.
What would you tell them?
I tell them exactly this. First of all, don't make statements. Don't make assumptions. One statement that you may want to make is, I'm here to listen to you, and just listen. But what I first say is, ask them if they want to talk about it. And if they say no, you have to drop it. But if they say yes, then ask them this. How are you feeling emotionally as well as physically? Now, most people like to avoid emotions because, hey, don't want to hear anything negative. Might bring me down,
Right.
Like, forget that. Be real. People want to open up. And there's so much energy. I have cancer patients come up to me saying, I'm spending so much energy trying to be strong for everybody else. And I'm saying, let it out, baby. Scream, cry, whatever. It's crappy, And they're like, yeah. I say, one of the most irritating phrases when we get diagnosed with breast cancer is, just be positive. And the crowd cheers. Because screw positive. You've got to express yourself and feel what you need to feel.
Tell me what happened with this Dr. Rakesh Biswa. He's a doctor and professor practicing in India. How did he find out about you?
I had recently gotten a short story of mine called The Magic Words, published in an online medical journal from the United States, run by a doctor, a passionate doctor who cares about humanitarian causes. And the next day, I got this email from this doctor in India saying, I just read your story online, and I love it, and it's going to be totally appropriate. I want to use it for my presentation at TED, April 4th. And I said, okay, not knowing anything about what he's talking about, but I was just honored that he contacted me. And I was the next week, and he asked me to videotape myself. I didn't have a video camera, so I did it on the webcam on my MacBook Pro. And, it's not incredible quality. It's not HD or anything. And then I rented a camera, the next day, and I got all the studio stuff in my living room, and I made 4 incredible takes, and I sent it all to him and his committee, and they came back saying, we like the first one. We're using the webcam. And then I'm getting a massage a week later, and my massage therapist is saying, so where's this video taping sent? I said, I don't know, some conference called TED something.
Right.
And she goes, TED? TED? I said, do you know it? what is it? She goes, TED is one of the most exclusive speaking, things in the world, Marla. And I was like, really? And then I started to tell people, hey, have you heard of TED? Yeah, I watched all the videos all the time. It's the most, great minds of the world. I said, I'm going to be on TED. And that's how it happened.
Right, and it is very important. And it's, first of all, they're by invitation only. Their motto is to ideas worth spreading. It's known around the world, has a huge following, and only the best of the best are asked to appear. So it's quite an honor that you got it, and it's an honor to talk to you. What else are you planning? What does the year look like for Marla, the rest of the year?
Well, I like to keep writing whatever story crops my mind. I'm having a new story. Well, it's actually an old story, and it's part of one particular chapter in my memoir, and it's called One Moment in Time that Dr. Rakesh had read, and he wants to publish that in his international medical journal is read by the Mayo Clinic. I'm sitting there pinching myself going, I can't believe this is happening to me. And because they understand that I have a message in my stories because they're called patient narratives. And I talk about how patients are treated by medical professionals. Sometimes it's not good. And this doctor and other doctors, and also David Alpern of the Cell to Soul journal that started all this, who printed my first story, Magic Words, believes that medical professionals have to learn how to treat patients better and listen.
Well, we thank you so much, and we'll keep in touch. Thanks for joining us, Marla Lukofsky, comedian, writer, inspirational speaker. You can check out her video on the TED videos.